When we went to the first stakeholder meeting, the very first stakeholder meeting in the East, we explained what we were about and that we were here, and two things arose that were to do with expectations. One we had to manage down, one we had to manage up. Halfway through the day, after I'd done a talk, a gentleman got up at the back of the hall and said, "Okay, I have a problem with this particular wind farm development off one part of the coast." It was a wind farm of about 30 turbines. And the way that the process has assessed the impact on seals in relation to that wind farm. And I had to stand up and said, "Sir, it's a very good question. However, two things. Firstly, look at this map showing the size of the area that we're needing to deal with, and recognize the fact that we've never done this before and that we have these big issues to deal with. With the best will in the world, I'm not going to be able to go as local and specific and detailed for your issue as you would like, because I've first got to deal with all of this stuff. The second thing is, actually, I'm a planner, and when you come to individual projects, there are processes in place for doing the project level assessments. And really, that's the place where you need to go and articulate, I'm not happy with this." He didn't look too happy, but he sat down. At the end of the meeting, at the end of the day, he came up and he said, "It's a bit disappointing that you're not going to be dealing with these issues, but I'm really glad you've told me what you're about and what you're not, and I know I don't need to come into any more meetings and at least ask about these questions. So that's appreciated." And I thought, well, we then learnt we need to go into every one of our stakeholder meetings thereafter being prepared to have answers to that kind of question. The other expectation that arose, I really hadn't anticipated. This was the beginning of our process, and we were saying, we're going to produce a plan together. And several people got up partway through the day and said, "Well, tell me what the plan will look like, and then I'll know whether I should be involved in the process." And I said, "Look, if I could tell you what the plan looked like, why would I be coming and talking to you?" They said, yeah, but we've heard this before. We have all sorts of initiatives that come, whether it's been marine protected areas or other regulation, and we're consulted. But actually you've worked out what you want to do and just checking what our views on it. I said, okay, there's an interesting psychology going on here. I am genuinely saying to you, we do not have a plan already written. We have a blank page. And that's not a weakness in the sense that I don't know what a plan should look like. I've got plenty of views what it should look like, but I'm not the only person writing this plan. This is truly a participative process. And you will, I can promise you, have an input into what this blank page will end up looking like. So again, we realized, God, when we go into stakeholder meetings in the early days, we're going to have to spell it out that we are really open for people being involved in this process, and that we're not like some of the other initiatives that they've engaged in where it was kind of all worked out in advance. So that was an expectation that we kind of had to grow. Yes, you can expect to really have an influence on this plan. It's more than perhaps you thought when you came in the door.